Hi guys, I am re-recording the live that I did yesterday on 2 steps to bagging your first clients because the live cut out halfway through. Cheers Instagram. So I'm doing it as an IGTV so you guys can see it again on the replay. So yeah, it should last about half an hour and you're going to get my 2 steps to bagging your first clients, and within those steps there's a few different action points that you can take away. So if there's any questions that you have, just put them in the comments below or give me a DM. But and also I've written a shit ton of notes, as I always do. So if you see my eyes going like that, that's why. But I'll crack on. So for context, I am talking about the stage where you are just on the cusp of starting your business. Maybe you've got yourself a little Instagram feed, maybe you've kind of dabbled with a website, maybe you've kind of got a logo and stuff, but you're not bringing in clients. You might have had a couple of people you've worked with for free, or you might have taken some money, but there's no consistency, you haven't got a steady stream of them. So, you know, that's the stage where I'm kind of talking about at the moment. You know, you might even be at the point where you've never had a client and the thought of even getting a client freaks you out completely, and that's just stopping you doing anything. I've definitely spoken to people like that. They just think, oh my God, how am I ever going to do that? And who's going to want to pay me? So I've got some good tips for that. So basically, the 2 key things I hear a lot when I talk to my clients is that they want to start charging because they feel that that's going to be a real game changer in their mindset around the business. And they also want to get testimonials because basically social proof is the currency nowadays, right? So the tips that I'm going to give you will give you both of those, because you're going to get clients in, right? And the idea is that you get paid and you get a testimonial. So before I get into them though, I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about me and my story and how I got to where I am using these tips. So I started my coaching business as a side hustle, and that was just after I'd kind of gone back to work after being signed off with sort of anxiety and stress. And that was caused by basically me getting a promotion at work, which I at the time thought was amazing, but I actually realised was completely wrong for me. You know, they talk about climbing the corporate ladder, and I basically had my ladder against the wrong wall, and I went to pieces and was like, what am I doing with my life? I've got to nearly 40 and I'm in this corporate job that I don't hate, but it just does nothing for me. I don't know what I'm meant to do. Everyone else is out there doing what they love. What am I doing? So I had a breakdown, and I was signed off work for quite a period of time, a few months, and during that time I had some coaching, and the coaching was so profound and so life-changing for me that I was like, I need to learn how to do this. So I trained on the side of my 9 to 5 and I qualified and I became a coach. And I started my business as a real kind of scrappy side hustle, coaching, you know, mornings, before work, lunchtimes, after work, evenings, weekends, as much as I could. And I grew that scrappy side hustle to 5 figures in 6 months. So I'm here to tell you it works. I also managed to do it while I was pregnant and during COVID. So all those kind of excuses, and they are excuses that you might be telling yourself about why you can't get your side hustle off the ground, they are just bullshit, right? You know, it might sound harsh, but I am proof that you can do it under any circumstances. And that's what I really want to sort of prove to you today. So how did I get my first client? So my first step is I created an introductory offer. So to give you some context, right, before I did that, I had already been working with clients for free during my coaching qualification. We had to build up a certain quota of hours of practical, like working with people in order to qualify. I wouldn't necessarily recommend working with people for free for reasons that I will go into later on. But for me, I did not feel like a legit business until I was charging. It just felt like I was doing this qualification. Even though I had tons and tons of hours of coaching under my belt and I was getting really good testimonials and really good feedback, it didn't feel like I was running a business. So to take a step back, for those of you who haven't done the free bit yet or aren't planning on doing the free bit yet, and maybe you want to explore it, I'll just sort of talk a little bit more about it and why I don't recommend it. So I worked with people for free right back at the start of my coaching qualification I basically sort of said I would do 2 months working with them. So that would be 4 sessions over 2 months. And they would take place via Zoom every 2 weeks. So my first action point to you guys, regardless of whether it's free or you're going to be charging, is you need to go and work out the kind of the what's, the hows and the who's. right? So the first thing is the what. So what service is it you want to sell? How long will the service or package be? The easiest way to do it is really to just go, what's the service I'm most comfortable with providing right now, and what's the most in demand, and start there. Think about how you're going to deliver it. So for coaching, is it Zoom or is it in person? For an interior designer, is it e-design or is it on site? For a marketing consultant, are you going to be doing a consulting type package, or are you going to be doing a done for you type package? So really think about all of that at the beginning. Who are you going to sell it to? Now, at this stage, I would say you don't have to have your niche all figured out. Despite what all the gurus say, it can be something that really holds people back. It's something that really freaked me out in the beginning. I was like, I don't know what my niche is. How the hell am I going to be able to sell to anyone? Because that's what they tell you, right? You're not going to be able to sell unless you have a niche. And I'm here to tell you that is bollocks. Don't get me wrong, a niche helps further down the line. But at that point, when you're just starting out, you don't need to worry about it, right? One of the best bits of advice I got given during my qualification was to just go and do the work and your niche will find you. And it was completely true. They couldn't have been more right. I started coaching anyone and everyone I could get my hands on. I quickly realised I preferred coaching women to men. So already my niche started finding me. But that's evolved over time and had many iterations. So it evolved from women to women who were unhappy in their career, to small business owner women, to women who are aspiring side hustlers, which is today. And that's fine to niche down, for it to change, for it to go back and forth. Like, that's absolutely fine. All you need to start to think about at the stage that you're at right now is, who do I want to serve right now? And that might be everybody, because I just want to get loads of experience. Keep it as broad as you like, and that is absolutely fine in the beginning. So back to my free sessions that I was talking about, which again, I don't recommend, but I will tell you about it for context. I found them all through the Coaching Academy Facebook group, which is the company that I use to train. And I reached out to see if anyone wanted to do any free coaching. And obviously I was inundated, because everybody wants something for free, right? Which is brilliant to begin with, because it gave me tons of experience. I was coaching lots of different people with lots of different goals and problems and things. But what I started to realise was people weren't taking it seriously. Some were, but the majority weren't, because it was free, right? They would either not turn up, or they would turn up late, or, I had one lady that did it, her sessions in the car with the kids in the background. I mean, how fucking rude is that? And a lot of them, they just wouldn't complete their actions. So it was really frustrating for me, and it probably wasn't a great experience for them. They just weren't, because it was free, they weren't attaching any value to it, right? That was making me feel like shit, not have a great experience for them. So that's why I don't recommend doing it for free. If you want to, because you really are thinking, I need to go out and get some experience, do it. But just be warned, that will happen, and you probably won't do it for very long, because that stuff might happen anyway. But so anyway, my friend Sarah sat me down and said, look, you really ought to be charging for this. And I was like, I know. The thought just literally filled me with dread, because I had such a bad money mindset back then. I was like, I'd worked in corporate for 15 years. I'd never actually asked anyone for money in my entire life. We had a finance department that did that. So the thought of charging someone for anything just made me like, ugh. So, but I knew she was right. I knew that I wouldn't feel like a legit business until I started bringing in money, right? So we sort of talked about, we had one of our wine storming evenings, which is basically where you brainstorm with wine. Amazing. What we sort of said was, that even though I didn't feel experienced, I'd only been doing this, 6-8 months or something, the people that I was coaching were still getting value from it, and they didn't know really how experienced I was. They had no frame of reference. So I needed to attach a value for it for me. So after much deliberation, I came up with the princely sum of £50 for 4 sessions, which I just look back now and I'm like, my God, those people got an absolute fucking bargain. But, and compared to what I charge now, it's like nothing. But at the time, it was not a huge amount of money for me to like go out and spend 50 quid, but for me to charge someone £50, it was huge, and I just remember thinking like, who the hell's going to pay me? Why would they want to pay me? All that imposter syndrome crap came up. But, I got a decent amount of clients at that fee, and I'll tell you how I did that in a sec. But, at that super cheap rate, I was giving people something so valuable. They were getting this, I told them it was discounted, and I'll go into that in a second. And I had a nice steady stream of people coming in. So it, gave me loads of stuff. It gave me loads of experience. Of actually testing out my service and providing it to people. It gave me those all important testimonials. I've got tons of them on my website now, which is, you just can't put a price on those, because when people want to work with you, they'll go and say like, okay, well, I want to see what other people have said about them. You know, I got to hone my niche. Like I said, I started working with, as many people as I could. I started thinking, right, well, it's going to be women. I started working out who I liked working with, who I didn't, what topics I liked working with. So someone at one point asked me to be a love and relationship coach. And if anyone knows me, goes, that's not my area at all. So I was able to like transfer her or recommend someone else for her, because I was just like, that's not my thing. And so you start to gain confidence and know what you want and what you don't. And you can only do that by practicing, right? I also learned, what the nitty gritty about my services, like how long the session should be, how far apart they should be. Should I do charge by package, or should I charge by session? I always say you should charge by package, by the way, not by session, but that's for another live. But I also learned the other things, like the business skills, like the art of invoicing and actually sending stuff on time and chasing them up and asking for money and all those kind of business skills that I didn't know anything about because I'd been in corporate for so bloody long. So pricing. How did I come up with the £50? Literally thin air, red wine and thin air. That's how I came up with it. So I wouldn't recommend doing it like that. But basically, I didn't do any research. I didn't look at how much people were charging. I had coaching before, so I knew how much coaching cost, and I knew this was a bloody good deal. But I also wanted to get those bums on the seats. So my second action point for you guys would be to consider the following points around pricing your offer. So the first thing would be, don't think about the cheap price first. Think about the price that you want to charge eventually, right? So, sorry, that's my dog barking. Basically, what you want to do is think about, what do I want to charge in a year's time or 2 years' time? What's my goal charging price? And then you want to heavily discount that. So take 50 to 75% off. We'll come to that in a sec. So when you're thinking about that end goal price, so let's just say it's £1,000 you want to charge for a coaching package eventually, not now, because that makes you feel, well. Think about, what does it cost to run your business? What are all the things like, Wi-Fi, my laptop, all that kind of stuff. What are your competitors charging for the services that you want to offer? And when you do this, please do not go out there and get all this horrible imposter syndrome. I've gone down these rabbit holes before where you think, I'm just going to go and have a look on somebody's website, and then you're like, oh my god, their website's so amazing, oh my god, I'm so shit, and then before you know it, you are procrastinating and you've done nothing because you just think, I can't be bothered to do this anymore. So just pick like 3 people that you find on Instagram or you Google or whatever, go on their website and just be really, really clinical about it. What services do they sell? How do they charge? How long are their services? Whatever. But do not get pulled into this like comparison trap. It's the thief of joy, and it never does any of us any good. Then think about, who's your ideal client and what are they prepared to pay? Again, you don't need to worry too much about who your ideal client is at this point. If you do have that information, you've already been thinking about it, great, because it's really, really helpful. But I hadn't thought about that at all at this point. I was just like, it's people, I haven't niched down. So how can I have an ideal client? But just think about, people, what would they be willing to pay someone with this level of experience, right? And think about that as well. Think about, how long have you been in the industry? Like, you might be a new coach, but you might be coaching on social media, but you've worked in social media for 20 years. So don't always think, I'm so new to this. Think about the amount of experience you've got. Or you might be a brand new, newly qualified interior designer, but you've worked in interior design for 20 years. So always think about how much experience you're bringing to the table, right? Also think about how much time you'll be investing. So the longer you spend on a project, the more you should earn. Maybe start tracking how long it takes you to complete certain projects, because a lot of time it takes you much longer than you think. There's time tracking apps that you can use and things like that, but that will help you come up with a fair price. Think about, will you be charging hourly or per project? Again, look at what your competitors are doing. So yes, and that is how I would come up with the end, goal. So say the £1,000 or whatever for the coaching package. Would I have charged more looking back? 100%. But you only know what you know, right? So knowing what I know and all of those questions that I've just given you that I did not ask myself in the beginning, if I'd done it, I would have said, right, it's £1,000 for the coaching package that I'm eventually going to charge. And 75% of that would be 250 quid. So I'm going to charge 250 quid, right? But you could look back and go, well, would I have got as many people through the door? Probably not, maybe not. Would I have got as many bums on seats? Would I have got as many testimonials? Would I have got as much experience? No, maybe not. Who knows? So what I'm saying is, it's really up to you. Only you know what's that kind of the right pricing point for you. I think there's 3 things to consider when you're trying to weigh up that thing. Is, does it feel like I'm valuing myself? You know, do I feel like I'm giving away too much of my time or experience or value for free? You know, is the cost of the investment for that person enough of an investment so that they will value it? You know, like, you know, is 50 quid enough? Maybe it is. Don't know. It depends on the service that you're providing and the industry that you're kind of in. But on the flip side, is it also enough of a discount so they feel that they're getting a really, really good deal? And it's like this kind of no-brainer, because you don't want to be doing any selling with these introductory offers. You just want it to be like they see it and they're like, yeah, I'm in. You know, you leave the selling for when you're further down the line and you're selling your big high ticket packages and services. This needs to be super simple. They just look at the offer and go, yeah, why wouldn't I do that? So it's got to be that, you know, that balance between you valuing yourself enough and them seeing enough value but also getting enough discount. And you'll only know that by trial and error. You might put an offer out there and it might get crickets, and you might put an offer out there and you're inundated and you haven't got time. So you kind of just need to just pick an offer and go with it and see what happens, which is what I did. And then I did various iterations afterwards, which I can send to you if you want to see some examples of my offers. I look back at them now and I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, if you want to see them, that's no problem. So now you have your pricing. How do you package it all up? So I was lucky. I'm able to use my marketing experience of, 15 years working in marketing in a big corporate to help me with this. So I came up with kind of 3 points to the offer, right? So the first point is who you help, right? So you say, I help people who, and then you list all of their pain points, right? So for me, like I said, it was super broad. I didn't have an ideal client at that point. So, and I'll read them out to you. I help people who feel stuck in their career and want to make a change, but don't know what they need to do. Have a goal in mind, but feel overwhelmed or unmotivated to achieve it. Don't have a goal in mind, but know they need to change something. Want more confidence in themselves, or want clarity on the direction of travel. Like, I mean, how broad is that? But the whole point with it is that if you put enough pain points down, something will resonate with somebody and they'll go, oh, that's me. Yeah, I want more confidence in myself. Or yeah, actually, no, I do feel stuck in my career and I want to make a change, but I don't know what I need to do to move forward. Great. As long as you're speaking their language, it will resonate, right? So the second part of the packaging it up is, what will they get? So this is where you kind of like tell them the kind of like nuts and bolts of it. So for me, it was, you get a 30-minute free discovery call to find out if we vibe, 4 one-hour coaching sessions delivered by Zoom every 2 weeks. Okay. And then on that point, when you're doing these offers, the idea is to get as many people through the door so you can make as much money and get as many testimonials as you can. Don't work with people for too long. Don't say 6 months or 4 months. Just say, like, I would say 8 weeks max, maybe 6 weeks, whatever it is. Try and make it as short a time as possible. You can always extend it. I had people that said, oh no, I'll carry on working with you. Great. But, also, if you don't like working with that person, you want to fuck them off as soon as possible. So try and keep it as short as you can. The third thing is how much does it cost? So this is where you cleverly word it to show them how much of a bargainous price they're getting, right? So something like, for this XYZ service, I would normally charge XYZ. So for me, the earlier example, for this coaching package, I would normally charge £1,000. But because I'm in the early stages of my business until the end of July, I'm offering all of this for £250. So they're like, oh, what a fucking bargain. Oh, and actually, I better get on that because she's only doing it to the end of July. Because by telling them the normal price, it attaches a value to the service and they feel like they're getting this amazing deal. By telling them your early stage, you are kind of giving yourself a bit of a get out clause. They go like, oh, right, that's why it's cheaper, because she's early stage. And you can also be a bit rough and ready. Like, they don't mind if you only send them like crappy Word documents instead of beautiful PDFs. And they don't mind if you have to say, oh, I don't know that, I need to go and find out the answer. You're kind of you're basically being really transparent from the beginning. And like I said, by putting a time limited date on there, it creates this sense of urgency. They'll be like, oh, actually, I better sign up because she's going to finish this at the end of July. So there you have it. That is your first introductory offer. Now, for those of you who've been following me for a while, you'll know I'm all about messy, imperfect action. I'm a recovering perfectionist and I know how much it can make you procrastinate. So my biggest bit of advice on this is to just please don't fucking overthink it. And again, I'm a big overthinker, so this is why it's coming from the heart. You will do a few iterations of this, as I said. This offer will not be the only offer you ever put out there. You might put it out there and get crickets. It might be completely overwhelming, but you just need this first one to get a few people through the door and get your confidence. Mine was on a friggin' Word document, for God's sake. Please do not spend hours in Canva tweaking and perfecting. Just get it out there. It just needs to be something that people will look at and think, that is a no-brainer deal for me. Okay, just get it out there. So that brings me on to my nice second step, which is distribute it to the low-hanging fruit, right? So what I mean by this is that most clients I speak to think that they need to have a flashy website, a sexy logo, tons of Instagram followers before they can start putting an offer out there. And I'm here to tell you that is absolute bollocks. I had none of that stuff when I first went out and did this. I literally, when I first put my offer out, I wasn't even on social media because I just recovered from burnout and anxiety and stress. I'd completely taken myself off social media. So you don't need that. I didn't have a website, I didn't have a logo, I didn't have any of that stuff. So putting off doing this until you've got XYZ number of followers, it's just an excuse. Like I said earlier, all of this stuff, and bless our brains are trying to keep us safe. They're like, oh no, you can't do this until you've done that. But it's bollocks. I'm here to tell you it's absolute crap. So the other thing, actually, even if you have got some followers, even if you've got like 200-300 followers on your Instagram, most of them are strangers, right? And it's much, much, much harder to sell to strangers because they don't know, like, or trust you yet. But who does know, like, and trust you? The people around you in your inner circle. And I've got, where's my diagram gone? Here it is. I've drawn a beautiful diagram here, which obviously you can't see because it's back to front, but I will talk you through it anyway. But basically, before I go into that, what I'm trying to say is the people around you are going to be your biggest advocates, right? And I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, but they don't want to buy my services. They don't need interior design. They don't need coaching or consulting or whatever it is. And that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is that's not how you need to think of these people. They are there as your distribution channel. And I will use this beautiful diagram here to show you why. So if you think about yourself in the middle here, go with me on this. In this inner circle here, you've got friends, family, colleagues and ex-colleagues, clients and past clients, and social groups, right? So I'll go through them individually. Friends. Now, not just, you think about your best mate, your friends from uni, you've got friends from school, you've got Facebook friends you might not see very often, might have, if you're a mum, you might have your NCT mum friends. We've all got lots of different groups of friends that you might have your husband's side of the family, their friends, that when you really start to break it down, you're like, actually, I've got a lot of mates, right? Family, you might have your own family, you might have step family, you might have, your in-law family, colleagues, you might not feel comfortable talking to your colleagues, and that's fine. But there's going to be tons of ex-colleagues. You go onto LinkedIn and you think, we've probably all had like 4 or 5 jobs in our past time, right? Think of how many ex-colleagues you will have worked with who are probably not at that company anymore and have moved on. And think about how many people that you could like just message and be like, hi, remember me? Haven't seen you in ages. I'm doing this now, right? Also to do with work. Suppliers and agencies. I worked in marketing for 15 years. I was like, right, I've got shitloads of suppliers I used to work with, loads of agency folks. So I tapped them up as well. What about networks as well? Like, so the company I was at and the previous company, they had like a women's network. And I was like, well, I'm sure I can go and, tap some people there up. Another one is clients and past clients. So even if you haven't had that many, you can go and speak to the ones you have had and say, look, I really love working with you. Like, blow smoke up their ass. I really love working with you. Where can I find more people like you? And they'll be like, oh yeah, okay. I had this conversation, earlier on with my friend, and she's looking for a coach, and she's looking for a social media consultant. You just never know. So it's always worth having that conversation with a client or an ex-client. The final one is social groups, right? This could be things like fitness and wellness. So, are you part of a running club, the gym, the yoga, Pilates classes? Who runs them? Who goes to them? Who could you talk to there? What have I got us here? Hobbies. I don't know what hobbies you do. Do you do needlework? Do you do macrame? Have I said that right? All those kinds of things where you are doing something with other people. What can you go in and talk to them about? Your services, right? They'd probably be like, oh my God, I didn't realise you were a coach, or I didn't realise that you did interior design. Oh, funny that. My mum needs her bathroom doing. That's how these conversations start. And then the final thing I've put, pub. because when I did the live, my friend Sarah was on, and she has a great pub next to her house where she knows shitloads of people. And, that would be an amazing place to go and like stick something up on the wall or the ladies' loos or something of what you're doing. Just think of any possible place you can do. Go and get a big bit of paper or a mind map on the wall or something like that, and just start putting like, work, colleagues, ex-colleagues, and start thinking to yourself, start thinking more in a, more kind of open-minded way, because we start with these things very close-minded, like I don't know anyone. And actually, when you start doing this, you'll start putting some names on there. You're like, actually, I know a shitload. And I know it will happen for you, because that's what happens to every client I work with. So that's your inner circle, right? And you still might be thinking, none of these people in here are going to want my services. That doesn't matter. What you're wanting these people to do is pass on your message, right? So you say to them, here's my offer. This is what I'm doing. Do you know anyone that fits this bill? And they'll probably be, oh my God, yeah, I do actually. Or do you know what? No, I don't know anyone, but I'll put it on the notice board at work. And you may laugh, but that is how I got my first 3 clients. My friend Sarah, I keep mentioning her, she took my offer and she put it on the Slack board at work. And within 3 days, I had 3 paying clients. They only paid me 50 quid, but that was 150 quid in my bank account and 3 testimonials. So it bloody works, all right? So this inner circle, see them as your distribution channel, not necessarily people that are going to buy from you. So then what I'm saying is you've got in your outer circle, for every one of these groups here, you've got the same groups again. So friends, let's take those. If you think about their friends, their family, their colleagues and ex-colleagues, their social groups, this is like, you automatically start to go, oh my God, my reach is widening and widening. Think of it as like an onion. You're going out to the outer layers of the onion, right? Family, who are there? Friends, family, colleagues and ex-colleagues. Colleagues, who are there? Friends, family, colleagues and ex-colleagues. You can start to map this out, right? And all of a sudden you're like, I can reach all of these people organically, not paying, without really much effort at all, right? The other thing I would say is, which I've got down here, is social media. And I do not mean posting on Instagram and, having a great big following. I mean using social media for what it used to be known as, for networking, right? So the first one is LinkedIn. LinkedIn was amazing for me. Now, I don't like LinkedIn. I don't like posting on there at all. It's just not my thing. But it was brilliant for getting in contact with people, because most people have got a really big LinkedIn network. They just kind of say, if you're like me, you say yes to everybody, right? Then if you start going back and going through all your contacts and you start thinking, well, who might want this service, but also who might know people, who's really well connected, drop them a bloody message. I did this. My coach made me go out and message like 50 people. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know 50 people. And I just thought, oh, fuck it, right? I'll message as many people. You throw as much stuff as you can at the wall and then, see what sticks. And I got loads back. I probably got about a 40% reply rate, which isn't bad. And when a lot of these people I hadn't seen for like 5, 6, 7 years. So LinkedIn, send them a message, put the offer that you've crafted into your Word document, just paste it into the message and say, this is what I've got. Can I talk to you more about it? In return for you, forwarding this on to people, I'm happy to give you a free session or a free consult or something like that. Use your brain to think like, what would this person want from me? I'm getting in touch after a long period of time. How can I make this more appealing to them, right? Facebook, another one. I'm not talking about posting on your personal page, although you can do that if you want to. I'm talking about joining groups. So join your local groups. So for me, I've got Oxted Facebook group. I've got Oxted Mums. There's so many groups in there that I went in and I posted in and just said, hey, this is what I'm doing. If anyone wants to talk to me about my services, just drop me a message. If not, it'd be amazing if you could share it with people in case they're interested. And people did, because people are nice, right? And also with all of this, if you don't get anything back from certain people, it doesn't matter. There will always be some people in there, we know them, who are just so willing to help. And we also know there's probably people in there who will just shut the email and never hear from them again. And that's fine too. But again, like I said, it's a numbers game. Throw as much shit at the wall as you can and just see what sticks. Best analogy ever. So there you have it. Loads of people, and you do not need to do any funky Instagram posts, okay? Just create your offer, package it up, and distribute it to your low-hanging fruit. So what are you waiting for? Go and do it, please. I hope that was helpful. Obviously, I can help you do this much quicker and easier. It's part of my Freedom Business Formula program, which teaches you all of this and more. Until Sunday, the 11th of July, so this Sunday when the football's on, I'm running an introductory special offer of 30% off. And what the program is 6 months working with me one-on-one, and I help you get that dream service business up and running. You know, no more feeling scared, no more feeling stuck. I help you taking messy, imperfect action straight away. The clients that have been through it with me have paying clients within the first few weeks. Some had them within a week. Like, it's that quick. If you are ready to level up and ready to make the investment, then I can help you get that in there very, very quickly. Get you money coming into your bank account, getting testimonials for your website, and most importantly, getting you feeling confident to then start increasing your prices and grow your business. And then what you come away with is a plan to go, right, I know exactly how I'm going to be able to leave my 9 to 5 and when I'm going to be able to leave. It might be 5 years for some people. It might be a year for other people. It depends on your personal circumstances and what your business is. But with working with me, you will come away and know exactly what you need to do to get to that point. And it pulls together all the pitfalls that I went through that you can avoid, all the knowledge and, the everything that I've learned and experienced, that I managed to turn my side hustle into a legit business of 5 figures in 6 months. So I know what I'm talking about. I know my shit, all right? So yeah, check out the Freedom Business Formula program. I'm going to put a link in the comments below. It's made for people who know that this is their chance. You know, they've literally been thinking about this for so long now, and they just feel stuck and they just cannot get to the point where they're taking action. I will make you take action. All right. And as I say, it's 30% off until Sunday, the 11th of July. So hit me up, and I hope that was helpful. I'll see you next time.